The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, February 25, reveal that Phyllis Summers will wake up horrified while Sharon Newman gets backed into a terrible corner. Some hot dramas on the way, so let's discuss what's coming up for these surprising team players. For starters, we should note that Sharon and Phyllis are the only characters listed in Tuesday's spoilers. That seems like a huge indicator that the focus is going to be on Phyllis and Sharon for most or all of the episode. Someone mysterious has apparently kidnapped Phyllis and Sharon, since Monday's show reveals they're both passed out on the floor of a dirty apartment. Sharon and Phyllis were presumably drugged into this unconscious state, but the drugs will wear off at some point. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis will wake up horrified on Tuesday's episode, so she'll have a chance to take in her new surroundings and realize she's stuck in an awful situation. Sharon is pretty much the last person Phyllis would want to be held captive with, and it's safe to say Sharon will feel the same way when she awakens to these scary circumstances. Once Sharon gets backed into a terrible corner, she'll know what she has to do. We'll see Sharon make a tough choice, so that could mean joining forces with Phyllis and actually trying to trust each other. There will no doubt be some bickering along the way, especially if Phyllis and Sharon initially play the blame game over their predicament. Sharon and Phyllis might throw some accusations around as they try to nail down what really happened to them. Nevertheless, Phyllis and Sharon will eventually have to accept that the real enemy is someone else. I&R will offer news on Sharon and Phyllis' captor sooner or later, but they'll have to mull over the mystery in the meantime. Our predictions hint that Phyllis and Sharon will ultimately strike a deal, so they may agree they have to be allies, at least temporarily, if they're going to get out of this tight spot. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon and Phyllis have some fun scenes coming up, so we'll bring you updates on what's in store for them. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, February 24, reveals that Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers will be unconscious after their apparent abduction, while Chelsea Lawson surrenders to Adam Newman. At home on Monday's I&R episode, Chelsea will joke around with Adam before suggesting something seems off with him lately. Adam will admit that after living together, it's become harder to fight the fact that he's falling back in love with Chelsea. After Adam tells Chelsea about his romantic dream, he'll wonder if it'd really be so bad if they tried again. Chelsea will admit living together has brought back some memories for her too. In the end, Chelsea will decide she's open to reviving their romance, but she'll warn Adam that they'll have to be careful and move slowly. Adam will suggest a simple dinner together to start, so Chelsea will get on board with the idea. At Nate Hastings' place, Audra Charles will offer updates on her meeting with Holden Novak and mention that Damian Kane might be sticking around because of a woman. Nate will wonder if it's Lily Winters since he tried to introduce her to Damian earlier and realized they'd already met. Audra will eventually decide to come clean about recognizing Holden when they first met, so Nate will wonder why she didn't say anything. Audra will point out that although she knew him as Holden during her time in LA with Tucker McCall, she thought maybe his real name was Damian. It left Audra's head spinning over the possibility that she might have known Nate's half-brother. Audra will admit she went on some dates with Holden, but she'll assure Nate that it was nothing serious. Holden also came to Audra's rescue with some music executives who were less than gentlemanly, so she'll owe him for that. After Audra apologizes for not confessing immediately, she'll explain that it was hard getting that reminder of her history. Audra was hoping she wouldn't have to deal with it if Holden went back to LA. Audra will hope Nate can forgive her, so he'll pull her into a hug and insist he's sorry about what happened with those music executives. Nate will get that Audra was overwhelmed and will declare that the past is the past. Audra will swear she's told Nate everything, so he'll give her a kiss and embrace her. At Crimson Lights, Mariah Copeland and Nick Newman will realize Sharon has gone MIA. Chance Chancellor will overhear and wonder if there could be a link to Phyllis' case since she's gone missing too. After Chance summons Daniel Romalotti Jr. and Summer Newman to the coffee house, they'll all compare notes on when Sharon and Phyllis might have last seen each other. Maria will imply that Phyllis could have kidnapped Sharon to carry out a revenge plot, but Summer will argue Sharon might be setting Phyllis up. After Chance and Nick work to keep the peace, everyone will be left pondering the mystery since it's weird that Phyllis and Sharon disappeared around the same time. In a crummy apartment somewhere, Sharon and Phyllis will be seen unconscious on the floor, so it looks like someone snatched them and stashed them there together. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis and Sharon will have quite a mess to deal with, so stick with us for more predictions on all the stunning news ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for the week of February 27, 2025. Both Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman go missing. Maria Copeland wonders if one of them didn't go willingly. Plus, Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson have an awkward dinner together. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Phyllis Summers missing. Fans recall that Daniel Romalotti Jr. was concerned that Phyllis seemed to go MIA. At first, Summer Newman wasn't worried. However, now more time has passed, and there is still no word from Phyllis. Daniel even called Billy Abbott in Paris to see if he knew anything. Eventually, Summer realized that they needed to call Chance Chancellor. While Phyllis has played these games before, she wouldn't do it right after all this stuff with Heather Stevens, would she? Sharon Newman vanishes. It seems that Phyllis isn't the only one to go missing in Genoa City. The preview clip for the week of February 27 shows Daniel realizing that Sharon is also missing. Daniel and Summer listen as Nick Newman mentions it being a weird coincidence. Daniel ponders why Sharon and Phyllis would disappear at the same time as they hate each other. That is when the camera zooms over to Mariah, who is standing next to Chance. Maria answers Nick's question by suggesting one of them didn't go willingly. Now, everyone knows about Sharon's crime spree, but she was also framed and under PCP without her knowledge. Then, we have Phyllis, who promised to make Sharon feel what Heather's loved ones went through. It seems a bit soon for that, though. Could it be someone nobody expects, such as Ian Ward? Even though Ian was pronounced dead, his eyes opened in the ambulance. Damien Kane's con. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that the preview clip also shows Damien Kane and Lily Winters having dinner together. Lily tries to get more information about Damien's background. However, Damien tells her that she already knows all about his family drama. That is when Lily clarifies that she still doesn't really know anything about Damien. Instead of answering, Damien asks if Lily is involved with anyone. The blunt way that Damien skirts around these questions makes Lily laugh. CHADAM moment. There is also Adam and Chelsea. As they sit at an awkward romantic dinner, Adam and Chelsea comment on their uncomfortable situation. The Young and the Restless scoop for Monday, February 24, reveals Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers will be held against their will. My and our spoilers tease Chelsea will ask Adam if something's on his mind. Adam will say if he tells her, will she promise not to hold it against him? What's difficult for me is how much I love having you here, he'll tell her. Having you here makes it hard to fight the fact that I'm falling back in love with you. My and our daily scoop. Chelsea and Adam agree to start with a dinner. Chelsea will admit that being there and spending so much time with him has brought back a lot of memories, and they'll discuss the happy memories they shared together. Why don't we start with something simple, non-threatening, something like dinner, he'll say. I'd like that, she'll reply. Meanwhile, Nate will give Audra props for Damien Kane's change of heart. Maybe what you said to Holden was the final push they needed, he'll add. Audra will say Damien met someone who may have compelled him to stay in town. Nate will wonder if it's Lily Winters. Maybe I should thank my cousin, of all people, for Damien deciding to give Amy another chance. He'll say perhaps she made an appeal on Amy Lewis' behalf. Audra will say she could see how someone could be taken with Lily. Like the way Holden's taken with you, the guy couldn't take his eyes off you, he'll reply. Then Audra will tell Nate there's something he should know. When Holden first arrived, posing as Damien, I recognized him. It wasn't the first time we met, she'll admit. She knows him from when she was in LA with Tucker McCall. So she was surprised to see Holden Novak and didn't say anything. But Audra will tell Nate she thought maybe he went by Holden in LA, but he really was Damien. She'll add they went on a few dates in LA, and he helped her get out of an uncomfortable situation with some record executives. I thought that if Holden would go back to LA, I wouldn't have to deal with him again. But since he hasn't, she felt she had to tell him. I am sorry I wasn't upfront with you from the beginning, she'll add. Young and the Restless Scoop. Nate forgives Audra for not telling him. I regret how I handled this. Can you forgive me? Nate will say he wishes she'd come clean in the beginning. But the past is the past, and her connection to Holden doesn't bother him. At Crimson Lights, Nick Newman will tell Mariah he's meeting Sharon there. But she's late. Mariah will suggest he call her, but he'll get Sharon's voicemail. Mariah will say she didn't hear from Sharon yesterday either. She'll call the office and ask if her mom's there and learn they haven't heard from her either. Chance Chancellor will walk in, overhear them, and ask if they've heard from Sharon. I don't know what to make of this, he'll tell them, but apparently Phyllis is missing. Nick and Mariah will say they haven't seen Sharon since Valentine's Day. It can mean nothing but Phyllis has been missing for the same amount of time, Chance will tell them. Nick will say maybe they should talk to Summer and Daniel Romalotti. Then Chance will call Daniel and ask if he and Summer can come to Crimson Lights. They'll arrive and find out Sharon's missing too. Mariah will suggest one of the ladies didn't go willingly. Your mom hates my mom with a vengeance that could topple buildings, Mariah will say to Summer. Are you seriously implying that my mom could have done something to Sharon? Summer will reply. Chance will say there's no evidence that one of them kidnapped the other, but Summer and Mariah will continue to argue about it. Eventually, Maria will ask how it's possible for the two of them to just vanish. What the hell could have happened? Nick will ask. Finally, viewers will see a dingy basement apartment with darkened windows, and both Phyllis and Sharon will be passed out on the floor. But who has taken them against their will? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, February 24, reveal Sharon has joined Phyllis in the missing category. Meanwhile, Chelsea and Adam look to the future while Audra decides she's kept her secret about Holden long enough. This is sure to be a dramatic and action-packed day in Genoa City that you won't want to miss. Next on The Young and the Restless, Daniel and Summer got upset when they couldn't reach Phyllis. They even enlisted Chance's help to locate her. Now, it's not just Phyllis who isn't reachable. It looks like Phyllis and Sharon are missing in action. Could this have something to do with Sharon's recent ordeal? Is it Ian Ward after all? We all saw him open his eyes. Making moves. Although she wasn't sure, Chelsea ended up moving into the old ranch with Adam and Connor. Of course, she firmly told Adam and everyone else that they weren't getting back together. Like ever. Now, Chelsea plots her next move with Adam. It's still probably not about getting back together, yet. Perhaps she's brainstorming about what job she'd like to do next. Or maybe it's even about redecorating the house. Truth. Audra was clear with Holden. They must absolutely keep their past a secret. Nobody at all could know that Audra and Holden shared a past that had to do with Tucker, especially Nate needed to stay in the dark. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, February 24, reveals that Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers will be unconscious after their apparent abduction, while Chelsea Lawson surrenders to Adam Newman. At home on Monday's I and R episode, Chelsea will joke around with Adam before suggesting something seems off with him lately. Adam will admit that after living together, it's become harder to fight the fact that he's falling back in love with Chelsea. After Adam tells Chelsea about his romantic dream, he'll wonder if it'd really be so bad if they tried again. Chelsea will admit living together has brought back some memories for her too. In the end, Chelsea will decide she's open to reviving their romance, but she'll warn Adam that they'll have to be careful and move slowly. Adam will suggest a simple dinner together to start, so Chelsea will get on board with the idea. At Nate Hastings' place, Audra Charles will offer updates on her meeting with Holden Novak and mention that Damian Kane might be sticking around because of a woman. Nate will wonder if it's Lily Winters, since he tried to introduce her to Damian earlier and realized they'd already met. Audra will eventually decide to come clean about recognizing Holden when they first met, so Nate will wonder why she didn't say anything. Audra will point out that although she knew him as Holden during her time in LA with Tucker McCall, she thought maybe his real name was Damian. It left Audra's head spinning over the possibility that she might have known Nate's half-brother. Audra will admit she went on some dates with Holden, but she'll assure Nate that it was nothing serious. Holden also came to Audra's rescue with some music executives who were less than gentlemanly, so she'll owe him for that. After Audra apologizes for not confessing immediately, she'll explain that it was hard getting that reminder of her history. Audra was hoping she wouldn't have to deal with it if Holden went back to LA. Audra will hope Nate can forgive her, so he'll pull her into a hug and insist he's sorry about what happened with those music executives. Nate will get that Audra was overwhelmed and will declare that the past is the past. Audra will swear she's told Nate everything, so he'll give her a kiss and embrace her. At Crimson Lights, Mariah Copeland and Nick Newman will realize Sharon has gone MIA. Chance Chancellor will overhear and wonder if there could be a link to Phyllis' case since she's gone missing too. After Chance summons Daniel Rumalotti Jr. and Summer Newman to the coffee house, they'll all compare notes on when Sharon and Phyllis might have last seen each other. Maria will imply that Phyllis could have kidnapped Sharon to carry out a revenge plot, but Summer will argue Sharon might be setting Phyllis up. After Chance and Nick work to keep the peace, everyone will be left pondering the mystery, since it's weird that Phyllis and Sharon disappeared around the same time. In a crummy apartment somewhere, Sharon and Phyllis will be seen unconscious on the floor, so it looks like someone snatched them and stashed them there together. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis and Sharon will have quite a mess to deal with, so stick with us for more predictions on all the stunning news ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Aristotle Dumas will arrive in GC soon, but this seems like a case of Ashland Locke 2.0. Y&R may be adding a character who's similar to Ashland, in hopes of filling that void on canvas. Ashland was a major corporate player who wasn't afraid of sneaky business practices. Viewers will recall that Ashland went as far as faking cancer during his run, so he was capable of sinking pretty low. Of course, Ashland eventually opened his heart to Victoria Newman and gained some layers, but their romance ended in disaster. Although Ashland was killed off in 2022, the show's perhaps been missing a character with a similar vibe. Aristotle Dumas just might be the perfect fit when it comes to sliding in that type of role. Victor Newman recently offered up some details on Aristotle and seemingly set the stage for his upcoming debut. Based on what Victor told Lily Winters, Aristotle is the real owner of the companies that Damian Kane runs. Victor has heard of Aristotle before, but he hasn't met him, at least not yet. That could change soon since Victor hinted about another job for Michael Baldwin. Victor seems curious now that he's looked into Aristotle a bit, so he may take some more and ultimately set up a meeting with this man. There was some talk about Aristotle being mysterious and keeping a low profile. The show's playing this guy up as someone shady, especially since Victor mentioned how he always comes out on top, no matter what fluctuations happen in the market. Aristotle may have good reasons to come to Genoa City, especially since Damien will decide to put roots down there. Damien and Holden Novak were supposed to get back to Los Angeles to put out some fires, so they may get in trouble with Aristotle for neglecting what needs to be done. Plus, no one turns down a meeting with the great Victor Newman, so all this may be setting the stage for Aristotle's debut. It's worth mentioning that Michelle Stafford teased David Pressman as a cast addition not too long ago. Pressman potentially has the right look to portray a guy going by the name Aristotle, so it's possible that's who he'll be playing. Whatever the case, our predictions hint that Aristotle will make a splash and bring some surprising news to GC, so stick with us for updates on this new character. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Aristotle will shake things up one way or another. It's the place to be for the hottest Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, updates, and news, so make us your go-to why and our source. Amanda Amy Lewis made her return to The Young and the Restless last year. As part of her storyline, the character revealed she is in dire health. However, some fans think a big twist is on the horizon, and they think they've been picking up clues. However, some fans have other ideas. Amy's return to The Young and the Restless came with an alliance with Nate. Amanda Amy Lewis has been part of the soap since 1983. While the role was originated by Stephanie E. Williams in 1983, Valerie Pettiford took over the role in 2024. Back in the 1980s, she was known for her stories with Nathan Purdy's Nathan. Since her most recent return, Amy came with two surprises. First, Nathan's son Nate has a half-brother, Damien. In addition, she revealed she is dying of cancer. With this revelation, Amy wants to reunite with Damien with what little time she has left. As noted by SoapHub, while recruiting Nate to help her, the two themselves forming a bond together. However, not all fans trust Amy. In particular, taking to Reddit, one fan wrote, "Who else thinks Amy is faking?" Some viewers agree, others think it's all in fans' heads. As the fan continued, "Why doesn't she go to the doctor? Why doesn't she let Nate pull strings for her? She's always telling Nate no whenever he offers help. I don't understand it, just seems weird. Makes it seem like she's got something to hide." As SoapHub noted, this has been something that fans have been wondering for quite a while. As another Reddit post mentioned, Nate of all people should have his radar up for someone pretending to be deathly ill but refusing expert medical care. The fan continued, "He should have done a background check on hair. Him moving her into his house just seems OFF." The post also noted it was suspicious that Amy's own son appeared to cut himself off from her. On the more recent Reddit post, fans shared their own opinions. Some agreed that the story didn't make sense. Others think the storyline might be more complicated. A few just think fans are making up scenarios inside their heads. Some comments include, "Exactly, this is one of the dumbest storylines they have written. I don't know, but I don't think she's necessarily faking her illness, because what would be the reason to? Amy's not been believable from the beginning. There are so many questions that deserve answers. Some have been asked by Nate and Audra, and some are just left hanging. If Amy's husband Jackson was a very successful physician, why is Amy destitute, and why could she not fund her own PI? Also, wouldn't there have been anything left in a will for Damien at that time also? People think Amy's faking because they're trying to create a story where none exists. The Young and the Restless icon Michael Graziadei has opened his heart to a new furry companion. After experiencing a heartbreaking loss, the talented actor is finding comfort and joy in the sweetest way by welcoming an adorable puppy into his life. The actor who plays Daniel Romalotti Jr. on the show took to social media and shared this lovely update. Read on to know more about it. The Young and the Restless icon Michael shares furry update. It's always hard to bid farewell to your pet, and not too long. The Young and the Restless star Michael Graziadei and his family had to do just that. He suffered a significant loss last year and now has welcomed a precious little addition to his family. The Daniel portrayer and his family, fiancé Lauren Carey and twins, brought another Pomeranian home. He took it to Instagram and shared the news, posting a picture of himself holding the pup. Along with the photo, Gracie D wrote, "A couple months ago, we had to say goodbye to our best boy, Mr. Pancakes. His passing left a hole in our hearts. Recently, we decided to extend our love to this little fluff ball and welcome him into our hearts and home. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rupert Eldon Snarf to the family. He likes treats, naps, playing with his sister Fudge, and tormenting our pit bull Marilyn." Several fans and co-stars rushed to the post's comment section and expressed their love for the new addition. Tracy Bregman, who plays Lauren on the CBS soap, said, "And is the perfect addition to Y and R." Laura Bell and Narch Samuel also commented with some heart emojis on the post. "Dr. Snarf is absolutely adorable, and we can't wait to see even more precious photos of this pooch." Until then, stay tuned to Soap Opera Daily for more such The Young and the Restless updates. Young and Restless snoozed its way through most of February sweeps, but a bit of a rally appears possible at month's end. Here's a look at what's happened and what's coming up. As the triangle forms, Summer's doing her utmost to insist she's not jealous of Kyle and Claire, but absolutely no one is convinced, including fans. I, for one, can't blame her. She never stopped loving Kyle. They share a son, and it would be hard to see him with anyone else, let alone her cousin. Chance isn't a serious contender for her heart after the debacle of an investigation he conducted around her family's tragedy, and Victor, however infuriating his meddling may be, isn't wrong about Kyle being the worst pick for Claire's first love. If you don't believe it, ask Lola. In related news, there has been way too much airtime devoted to Jack and Diane discussing redecorating. The writers must do better with their B stories. Picking up where he left off, Victor announcing to Michael that he was putting yet another plot against the Abbotts into motion felt, in a word, exhausting. You could all but hear the groans of Young and Restless fans far and wide. The problem isn't that we don't love their rivalry, it's that it's too much lather, rinse, and repeat. There's never anything fresh to offer, and these schemes tend to fizzle out with little payoff. Viewers are tired. Bottom line, if you're getting this reaction to Victor versus Jack, something is very wrong. Also, let's make this stop and give Michael and Lauren a real story, please. An emotional breakthrough. The raw scenes between Damien and Amy on Friday's episode, as we finally found out why the man cut contact with his mother, were super soapy. While the explanation itself was borderline flimsy, the emotion of it all had me riveted. Kudos to Valerie Pettiford and Jermaine Rivers for taking the material to another level. I felt totally invested despite this involving two characters who have just been introduced, and that deeper connection should help drive the story's momentum going forward. The big secret. How did Damien rise to such meteoric heights, as Victor put it, so quickly? As Lily pointed out, we've been left with yet more questions than answers in that regard. My take? Given that Damien is putting the moves on Lily, and she's entertaining it, I'd say Nate's half-brother is more than likely the true love we were teased was coming for her. However, the road to true love can be rocky. So I'd expect Michael to come through with an unpalatable answer to the question of how Damien became a successful businessman overnight. Right as Damien and Lily start to fall for each other. A hurdle, if you will. Also, might the writers be trolling by giving Damien the last name Kane? Missing Mrs. Per the preview, not only has Phyllis gone missing, but Sharon will do a disappearing act as well. Given that the Ian and Jordan storyline concluded the way it did, it left the tension between the ladies, who had previously been civil, simmering, and unresolved. At one point, we were expecting their issues to be ironed out within that plot, but it didn't happen. That's why I'm not surprised they've both gone missing. Whatever is going on, I'd be willing to bet they'll have to work together to get themselves out of it, thus forcing them to come to some sort of understanding. As for what's happened to them, well, it's possible that's got them. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that actress Sharon Case continues to do a phenomenal job playing the complicated Sharon Newman. While she's been in the role for 3 decades now, she portrays the character fiercely and flawlessly as Sharon Newman goes through her many ups and downs. The character recently endured quite the storyline when her bipolar medication was tampered with, causing her to have blackouts, hallucinations, erratic behavior, and had her believe she committed murder. Case recently sat down with fellow soap actor Maurice Benards on the State of Mind podcast to talk about Sharon Newman's mental health issues over the years. Sharon Case is no stranger to bipolar roles. While talking about Sharon Case's career, Benard stated that the character she played on As the World Turns was considered manic-depressive. Case acknowledges that Debbie Simon was bipolar, or rather, manic-depressed, which prompted Benard to remind everyone at that time the mental health condition wasn't referred to as bipolar. Case noted that her ATDOT character ended up going back to a facility, and after she exited the role in 1993, she entered the Y and R as Sharon Newman. Sharon Case's niche. As Y and R fans know, Sharon Newman has been diagnosed with bipolar for some years now. Benard questioned if the character had always had the mental health condition. Case noted, "She must have always been, but it was discovered at a point in her life when I had already been on the show for several years." The soap actress went on to say that one of the reasons she wanted to come on Benard's podcast is because she's always played bipolar characters. She stated, "Yes, I do play a bipolar character, not the only one I've ever played. This is sort of my niche, I guess." Are you a fan of Sharon Newman's or a hater? Comment on his milestone below. Check out the Y and R on CBS Daily for your fill of Genoa City drama, and visit this site often for all the best Young and the Restless updates, news, and spoilers. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Victor Newman may fake a medical setback and go to extremes in his plot to blow up Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman's relationship. Although Victor can't force Claire to do what he wants, he could certainly manipulate her into seeing things his way. I and R fans know Victor was injured thanks to his recent face-off with Ian Ward, so he's had some weak and agitated moments during his recovery. Victor's ordeal shook up his family, since they could have lost him if things had turned out differently. At some point, Victor might decide to use that to his advantage and lean into some false medical complications. It's easy to imagine Victor faking a heart attack or at least pretending to collapse as part of his plan. Perhaps Victor could stage a big medical setback in front of Claire. Victor might provoke Kyle into their worst showdown yet and make it seem like Kyle's the one who brought all this on. Kyle may finally decide he's had enough and unleash his fury like never before. As Kyle gets in Victor's face and rages, Victor could keel over and give Claire a front row seat to the whole thing. Claire has assured Kyle that she won't let Victor stand in the way of their romance, but her grandpa's medical crisis might change her mind. It could perhaps leave Claire reevaluating her priorities and lead to her deciding it's just not worth it. If Claire feels like her romantic choices are going to send Victor into an early grave, she may determine that she can't have that on her conscience. Claire might tell Kyle that she can't do that to her family and insist they can't keep adding to Victor's stress like this. If Kyle dares to suggest Victor is faking it, Claire might be offended and gain another reason to push him away. Kyle might have the right idea if Victor indeed pulls off a false medical setback, so Claire could end up furious with Victor if the truth comes out later. Whatever the case, Victor has faked medical ordeals to manipulate family members before. Claire might get the full Newman treatment here and receive a lesson of just how far Victor is willing to go sometimes. Our predictions hint that Claire has some troubling news ahead, so we'll keep you posted on any hospital trips Victor might make to dupe her. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor will do everything in his power to tear Kyle and Claire apart, so stay tuned for updates on all his scheming. Be sure to make your favorite Y and R hotspot for all the exciting Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, updates, and news you need. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease the February 20 episode, provided intriguing glimpses into upcoming plot developments. Lily Winters and Damian Kane spent more time on screen together, revealing that he is undeniably taken with his half-brother's cousin. Damian decided not to head back to LA. He was originally set to return to Los Angeles, but a change of heart led him to remain in Genoa City, all thanks to Lily. In fact, it was Lily who caught both Nate Hastings and Amy Lewis off guard with a surprise visit at the end of Thursday's episode. Earlier that day, during a conversation at Crimson, he had asked Lily out for dinner, but she firmly stated that she wouldn't consider it until he made time to see his mother. Additionally, Lily met Holden Novak and seized the moment to tease him and Damian about their antics aimed at Nate. It's easy to imagine Lily having an eye for both of them, and that they may have an eye for her in return. Holden pretended to be Damian, and it seemed super shady. There was a moment when both Nate and soap fans speculated that Holden was actually Damian. Although his intentions were to gather information, it was undeniably a dubious way to infiltrate Genoa City. Nevertheless, Holden didn't shy away when Lily confronted him with that accusation. He swiftly countered, arguing that his impersonation of Damian was no more questionable than Nate's clandestine meeting with him under the guise of a job offer, all while harboring ulterior motives. The exchange among the trio at Crimson hinted at deeper implications. After all, Josh Griffith, the head writer of the CBS soap, has been dropping hints about a compelling true love arc for Lily in 2025. Could Lily fall for Holden, making Damian jealous? While some fans speculate that Damian might be the romantic interest, could the show surprise everyone by making it Holden instead? Damian exudes an air of confidence, a man who seems to always achieve his desires, especially now that he wields both wealth and influence. The camaraderie between him and Holden is evident. They might even be business associates or have a complex boss-employee relationship. Imagine the tension if sparks flew between Lily and Holden, leaving Damian feeling sidelined. It would create a tangled web for Holden, torn between suppressing his feelings for Lily or plunging into a relationship while keeping it a secret from his friend. Damian's trust issues could make things ugly. Damian's trust issues are already a significant hurdle, and the situation could spiral out of control. As it stands, Holden appears to be more aligned with Lily's preferences than Damian. Will Nate's newly discovered half-brother go to great lengths to win Lily over, only to face rejection? Might he also attempt to thwart a budding romance between Lily and Holden? The potential directions for this plot are endless. Additionally, there seems to be some unresolved history between Holden and Audra Charles, though the specifics remain murky. We know Holden allegedly rescued her from a troubling circumstance. Audra is keen to keep their past under wraps, and Holden has some knowledge of Tucker McCall. What is Holden's connection to Tucker? The big question here is what is, or what was, Holden's past connection to Tucker. Of course, it may not be much of a connection at all. Could they just be former coworkers, or have past flames in common? Perhaps linked by family ties in some way. Only time will reveal the truth, but this could also pose a challenge for Lily and Holden's budding romance. Spoilers for the upcoming episodes hint that viewers will be kept on the edge of their seats with the unfolding Damian plotline, as more details emerge. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Sharon and Chance's romantic reboot reunite after Summer chases Kyle. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman just wrapped up an intense storyline that involved Ian Ward tormenting her with Jordan's help. Now Sharon needs to heal from all the psychological trauma and find a way to move on. Nick Newman was obviously a huge help to Sharon during her ordeal, and even now, he continues to be a strong source of support. It's clear that Nick cares about Sharon and always will, but that doesn't necessarily mean this friendship will turn to love again. Nick honestly hasn't given any indication that he's leaning back in a romantic direction. I and our fans should keep open minds about what the future might hold for Sharon's love life. Nick could easily end up being paired with someone else, which would leave Sharon single for another love interest of her own. Could Sharon and Chance Chancellor get another opportunity at a relationship? It's a possibility to consider since I and our spoilers point to Summer Newman chasing after Kyle again before long. Summer's jealousy over Kyle and Claire Newman's connection will lead to her pursuing her ex again, so Chance may have no choice but to let go. At some point, maybe Sharon and Chance could collide for another hot hookup. Sharon might realize that things are going to stay platonic with Nick, and Chance may determine that he's always been a rebound for Summer. Perhaps Sharon and Chance could fall back into bed together as a result. Chance and Sharon could surrender to some mutual comfort and a familiar attraction. Chance Cons admitted he could see himself falling in love with Sharon, but she wasn't looking for anything serious at the time. Although Sharon struggled to see a future with Chance, a lot has changed since then. After everything Sharon's been through, she might be more open to embracing possibilities and enjoying everything life has to offer. Sharon might realize she was too quick to push Chance away and reconsider when it comes to a new chapter with him. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon will undergo some romantic updates eventually, so stick with us for more predictions on whether Chance might get good news. It's where you want to be for the hottest Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so drop by regularly. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Claire's dark side triggered, character spirals after plan to unalive Jordan fails. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Claire Newman is playing a very dangerous game. Fans have watched with red flags waving everywhere, as the generally sweet character has methodically been organizing a fatal plan to end her Aunt Jordan's life. While the idea is coming from a good place, as Claire wants to protect her family, her demeanor has completely changed in the past few days of trying to execute this scheme. Could she have triggered something dark from her past that will cause her life to spiral? The Young and the Restless spoilers have old, unhealthy habits resurfaced for Claire Newman. I and our spoilers suggest that despite wanting to put an end to Jordan and the chaos she brings, Claire has been spending more time with her aunt than she has in a long while. During their chats, the two talked about old times, and Claire has been bringing up all the things her aunt has taught her over the years. While Claire is trying to fool Jordan into trusting her, could this nostalgic walk down memory lane cause old and unhealthy habits to surface? Could it possibly bring up past trauma that Claire was able to overcome during therapy, but is now back in her mind, ready to haunt her? My and our spoilers. Claire Grace's life is turned upside down. One of Victoria Newman's biggest concerns about her daughter was regression. She's made so much progress getting over the childhood trauma and is finally living her best life. Claire has an amazing job, an amazing boyfriend, and a bright future ahead. Victoria has also been concerned about Claire's behavior since she came up with the idea to off Jordan. Victoria has noticed how different Claire presents herself, how cold and calculating she's been. There's a good chance that Claire will not end up being successful in ending Jordan's life, but in the process of trying to dupe her aunt, could Claire's dark side reemerge? Could this cause issues for her and Kyle Abbott or her relationship with the Newmans? Will Harrison Abbott pick up on a change in Claire's personality? Could Claire's plan against Jordan end up regressing her own progress and flip her world upside down? Join the conversation below. Tune into the Y and R Daily on CBS for all the drama, and visit the site often for the best Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates.